Steph.
Extraordinary. I go back to the president's words on the podium yesterday. When you think there's something there, there's always something. I want to bring in my panel. It's a good one today. Kate Kelly, Wall Street reporter for the New York Times, Jason Johnson, an MSNBC contributor and politics editor at TheRoot.com, and Maya Harris, who is making her debut as an MSNBC contributor and legal analyst, also a former senior policy advisor for Hillary Clinton's campaign. Jason, how about a little role play to start the day? You're the president. I'm Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions has already reportedly said, guess what? You don't like what I'm doing? I'll go home. I'll stop. Why? Why is the president doing this now?
Because
and you have to answer as President Trump. So, like, let's really roll.
Okay. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. But you're a good guy. You're a good guy. You're not as good as Macron, who's a good guy, but you're a good guy. But I don't trust you, Jeff. I don't trust you, Jeff. I need some loyalty. That's Trump. That's what he's saying right now. He needs more loyalty from Jeff Sessions so that he doesn't get mad at him for recusing himself for something that Jeff Sessions lied about because it was a part of the Trump campaign.
Yeah, I mean, just to state the obvious that we all know, I mean, the president shoots from the hip. I'm not sure there was a ton of forethought into what he said about Sessions. I think he was honest and blunt about his feelings at that moment in time. They are feelings that he has had on and off for some time now. The Russia investigation, as we all know, kind of won't go away as a storyline, partly because there's an open investigation, but also because the president is preoccupied with it, and he brings it up all the time in private conversations and apparently also in public ones.
I mean, that's what's extraordinary.
But I think that, you know, there's a real concern in terms of the comments that he's made, obviously, because they also seem to indicate that, you know, first he wants loyalty from Comey, now he wants loyalty or allegiance from his attorney general.
Right.
It's, you know, like he's wanting to run this the way that he runs his business, which is, you know, not the way the government works, and it's certainly not the way that the Justice Department works, which is an independent institution. I mean, these people, these senior officials, they take an oath to the Constitution, not to Donald Trump, and he fundamentally misunderstands that.
If he wants to run it the way he runs his business, shouldn't those around him remember that he's gone bankrupt 4 times? I want to also share a little bit about what he said specifically about Robert Mueller.
Mueller was looking at your finances, your family's finances, unrelated to Russia. Is that a red line?
Would that be a breach of what his actual...
I would say yes. Yeah, I would say yes.
So that's a red line. You cannot go into my family's finances. Once Robert Mueller is in that kitchen, he's in there.
I mean, look, it's called an independent investigation for a reason. The whole purpose of this exercise is not to exonerate Donald Trump. It's not to, you know, prove his innocence. It's to get to the truth, and that's wherever the truth may take us, wherever it may lie. And look, the American people deserve to know whether their president is operating in the American people's interest or in his own business or financial interest. This is a completely fair question to be asked.
But does Donald Trump have any point in that? If Robert Mueller's job is not to exonerate Donald Trump, it's also not his job to look under every rock there possibly is to see if he, you know, cheated on his homework in 1962.
Well, I just think Mueller...
Which, I'm going to take a guess, he probably did.
Probably did. Yeah.
Procedurally...
Which, you know what, I may have as well. Like, so, I'm not blaming him for it.
Procedurally, he's in a very awkward spot now because Trump has essentially said, I will fire him if he gets into this area of inquiry. And if the investigation leads him there, I'm sure he'll feel compelled to proceed and risk being fired. But that, of course, would be totally counterproductive to the whole effort. So it's...
Which goes into this bizarre, like, history that he's created, this alternative universe he's created, where, like, somehow Rod Rosenstein told him to fire Comey, and then Rod Rosenstein also stabbed him in the back by appointing Mueller. The president's inability to, like, put together basic chronology about what his own behavior leads to is part of what makes this interview so bizarre. I mean, we've seen rambling things from Trump before, but I literally think, I don't think he knows what he did yesterday, let alone the consequences of what he'll do today.
Making him a defense attorney's nightmare and a prosecutor's dream. I want to share more of what he said when he was specifically talking about his conversation with Vladimir Putin.
It was not a long conversation, but it was, you know, it could be 15 minutes, just talked about things. I actually talked about Russian adoption with him, which is interesting because that was a part of the conversation that Don had with this meeting.
Okay. Using my President Trump decoder ring, adoptions means sanctions. Does the president not understand that whether that meeting was 15 minutes or 50 minutes, Sanctions and adoptions are one and the same. And you sit down with Vladimir Putin, you are getting in the way of some serious foreign policy issues.
Well, I mean, apparently not, which of course is pretty surprising given all of what's unfolded with his son and the meeting that they had and all of the conversations that, we've had since then about adoption, the Magnitsky Act, collusion. So it's pretty surprising that he is seemingly unawares. But, the reality of it is that when you look at Trump's behavior, when you read the rest of the interview, and when you look at, statements he's made in the past, I mean, he really doesn't seem to know a lot about what's going on with any of this. He doesn't seem to understand the seriousness of the investigation and why it matters. He doesn't seem to understand why Sessions recused himself and the importance of having an investigation that has integrity, and how having an investigation with integrity can actually benefit him if he doesn't have anything to hide. He doesn't understand that his attorney general is not his junior employee who he can expect to put his personal political interests above, before the American people. So, I mean, it's really a problem across the board, and I think that comes through very clearly in this interview.
Well, there's something else to hide. 17 million bucks. 17 large. New York Times reporting Paul Manafort in the hole to Russian interests going into the campaign for 17 large.
Right.
How do we square this one off?
Well, I mean, Manafort's obviously got a very serious problem here, and, he's one of the key individuals in these inquiries. So it's just putting more detail on what is already a very serious issue for him, among others.
I need a quick yes-no. Does Jeff Sessions quit?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what makes markets there. Well, we're going to soon find out. All right, we have